Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar. Just going to give everybody a few moments to filter in and get situated, and then we will begin in about 2 minutes. Thanks for your patience. All right, if you're just entering, thanks so much for joining. Just going to give it 1 more minute and then we will get started. Alrighty, I think we can get going. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Really thrilled that you're here for our webinar. If you have any questions that pop up during the webinar, please just feel free to drop those in the question box on the right-hand control panel, and we will be sure to get those answered for you. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to our presenters.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Madison. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Joe Mastromarino. I'm joined here today with my good friend Charlie here. I'm going to have him introduce himself in just a moment. But today, I'm really excited to be discussing and showing off AttackIQ Ready 2.0. And really, we're trying to make this as easy as possible for everyone to really wrap their arms around, understand, see how it helps to really solve your problems, and really get some more conversations going about it. So as a way of introduction, like I said, my name is Joe Mastromarino. I'm Director of Sales Engineering here at AttackIQ. I've been with AttackIQ for a couple of years now. Been in the industry for about 20 years, most of that in security here. And I've been working with customers of all sorts of shapes and sizes over the course of my time here and other places as well. So I'm super excited about what Ready 2.0 offers to all of our customers around. Charlie, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, Joe, thank you for the opportunity. This is Charlie here, a Senior Product Manager at AttackIQ for a year and a half, maybe a little more, working on various initiatives, and also very excited to show you guys all the features in AttackIQ Ready.
Sweet. So I'm going to start getting right into it. We're going to discuss what problems it is we're solving with Ready. We're going to talk about how Ready is then going to help you be poised to be able to understand and respond to those threats around. So let's get right into it. And then after that, we're getting into a demonstration of Ready, and then some more resources that you can get into after this webinar here today. So as a starting point, I'd really like to start with the why are we here? Now, most organizations that we talk to, there's a recurring theme of the challenges that they face. We're here because we know our security controls routinely fail, and the data certainly supports that. As customers, we buy the best of breed security products, but the reality is that these products are complex. They require constant tuning and testing to make sure they function properly. Now, that means that you need to continuously evaluate the effectiveness of your security controls, because from our internal testing, we know that the average time an EDR stops the top 7 adversary techniques is really like 39% of the time. Over 70% of customers reported that at least a quarter of their security controls weren't working. And these are problems that clearly warrant security control testing, really system-wide. So why aren't organizations doing it though? Because this sounds like something that you would obviously want to do. And there are several challenges that you're going to be aware of that are pertinent to organizations. And the first is that most organizations simply don't have the time or the budget for either a full breach and attack simulation solution, like AttackIQ, that they can use to test continuously, and pen testing and red teaming are prohibitively expensive to do more than once or twice a year. In fact, according to Fortress Security's 2023 report, less than half of organizations test more than 4 times per year, and less than 28% test more than that. The reason is because each of these tests, or at least one of them, is that each of these tests can range from mid-thousands to more than $10,000 per test. And it can take months to put a plan in place to test a specific adversary. Even when organizations have the budget and they have the time, most don't have a guided path to a threat-informed defense. What we mean by the threat-informed defense is having a clear, risk-based set of objectives with the testing that you do, and that those are based on your understanding of the threats that are most likely to impact your organization. This is where you're measuring your organization's risk, your security controls relative to that risk, and your ability to mitigate that risk. We've seen some organizations that will proudly run every single test that a solution has, but often the results are really challenging to really wrap your arms around, because then you wind up saying, well, what do I do with all of these results, and how do I operationalize this? Which then gets us to our last hurdle, and that's complexity. There are the competing BAS solutions as well. They're designed for large enterprises. And our experience over the last 10 years of doing this, having pioneered this space, is that it requires at least one full-time employee to manage, operate, interpret the results from these different types of BAS products. Deployment of these products is generally easy. Where we routinely hear of customers starting to experience some challenges is in actually getting value out of the platforms that they buy. Planning and executing these tests takes a nuanced understanding of the threats that are out there, how they operate, what tactics, techniques, procedures they use, and also how your own security products work. I mean, believe it or not, most security products are so complex that attackers typically know how to operate them better than the people who built them. So now, how do you get to a place where you're validating the efficacy of your security controls, doing it continuously, and doing so in a way that's not breaking your budget? You can think about this on a maturity spectrum. And fundamentally, it's about starting with the testing objectives that your organization has, automating, expanding your testing, and incorporating knowledge of threats to guide the testing that you're doing. That is, you want an automated, threat-informed approach to your testing that is both adaptive to your unique needs and grows with you as your organization matures. You can visualize this using the NIST Common Security Framework Model, or the NIST CSF, which provides a high-level way of assessing a current level of cybersecurity capabilities. Now, this is different from NIST 8 and NIST 853 audit, so let's not confuse those two. Doing a quick search of the two, you will see that the NIST CSF is different, and that's really what we're focusing on here. We've ported this over to our own understanding of how organizations approach security control validation. How strong is their understanding of risk? What kinds of policies do they have in place? Things like that. You can use these principles to understand how organizations do testing. Smaller organizations might start at the partial stage. Their testing is ad hoc and mostly reactive to events in the news, say something their CISO or their board raises, and is generally done once or twice a year. Risk-informed organizations typically have a small degree of automation, and they're focused on starting to develop some processes for testing. They understand what assets are risky and what they need to do to secure those. This is typically where we see most larger organizations start. The focus here is on identifying what we call security control drift. That is, Do your security technologies consistently detect and prevent the basic things they're supposed to over time, especially as you're rolling out policy changes, architectural changes, week to week, month to month? At the repeatable stage, this is where we want to get most companies comfortable and where we see the best outcomes. And this is automating most of the security control testing, expanding validation beyond just a handful of devices, and starting to think like an attacker and beginning to incorporate testing for adversaries. Every organization is different, so the key to recognizing which areas of this model your organization is at. Not every organization will reach an adaptive posture, and they don't need to. The key is identifying your unique priorities, your risk tolerance, and how testing can help you reduce that risk. Here are some key questions to ask. Describe the process you have in place for validating your security controls. Do you automate that? Do you do manual pen testing or red teaming? What's the purpose of your testing? Is it to satisfy audit requirements or inquiries from board members or other stakeholders? Does your organization have a process in place for validating your security posture, but you want to expand testing to a broader cross-section of your environments? Is your organization already validating your security controls, but want to automate that and conduct focused adversary-based testing? Once you can answer these questions, we have solutions designed to address your testing objectives. AttackIQ Flex is our agentless testing solution that enables you to run self-contained out-of-the-box tests anywhere at any time. AttackIQ Ready is our fully managed breach and attack simulation as a service offering, which now includes access to Flex testing for maximum operational flexibility. Let's cover what each of these products does and how they work together in a single seamless solution. AttackIQ Ready is a breach and attack simulation as a service. It'll provide weekly, monthly, and on-demand security control validation with clear results and remediation guidance. Let's look at what you get with Ready, what it does. First, we're going to talk about the benefits of continuous testing. We talked earlier about the limits of time, budget, expertise. With Ready, we solve those problems with a breach and attack simulation solution that runs continuously, so there aren't gaps in your visibility that you would have with manual testing. This allows you to focus exclusively on using your testing results to inform proactive changes in your security posture. It's like having a full team in your back pocket, all at a price that's only a fraction of the cost of a red team or a pen test. With automated testing that runs weekly, you can control the schedule. You can add additional content that you want to run, and you can get detailed weekly summary, you get detailed summary reports indicating where we've identified security gaps and how to remediate them. Detection validation. We integrate with top security tools to enable you to perform detection validation, detection engineering. As you're running assessments and reviewing results, we are integrating directly with these tools to see where they've detected and prevented. Prevention is important because you want to know where your security controls are stopping threats. Detection is important because you want to know where, even when your tools couldn't prevent an attack, that you have the visibility into them enough that you can contain the attack once it's executed. This is your last line of defense as a defender. Self-contained tests. Each test we run in the product is a curated bundle of tactics, techniques, procedures, TTPs, selected by our researchers for objective-based testing. Now that is, if you're testing for a specific adversary or a specific control, like firewalls, we've curated the tests to validate that objective. As a founding research partner with MITRE Ingenuity's Center for Threat Informed Defense, we're also the only VAS vendor in this group of about 11 research partners, along with Bank of America, IBM, CrowdStrike, Microsoft, giving us unique access to research and engineering that is normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. Unlike competitors, we use this research in partnership and our in-house experts to continuously improve the content of both our testing, what TTPs we run, and the mitigations that we recommend. So you can be confident that the tests we've designed are of the highest quality. Detailed reports. As you run tests, you'll get both summary reports and detailed reports that detail findings on what you prevented and didn't prevent. show you your performance over time and recommendations on how to mitigate those gaps. All of this is MITRE ATT&CK aligned to enable you to easily understand the results and communicate findings effectively both within and outside of your organization by speaking one common language. Organizations usually follow metrics like how long it took them to detect or contain a threat. The granular technique-specific results you get from Ready allows you to really dig into not only the are we detecting and preventing enough, but also why aren't we detecting and preventing enough? It gives our customers a way to demonstrate the wide-reaching effects of small changes. For example, you might see in your security products that they're not preventing the behavioral-based TTPs that they should. Implementing small PowerShell restrictions using our mitigation recommendations could, for example, dramatically improve your detection and prevention efficacy. And you can demonstrate this in repeat testing with score improvements. This gets customers out of the hamster wheel of constant reactive measures. That's called being cyber resilient. So the next time there's an urgent zero day, even if there's not a direct patch for it, you can confidently say to your auditors and board members that there isn't a need to worry about that because we already have these types of preventative measures in place. And you can see that from the evidence of these test runs. You can test on demand. To supplement your scheduled automated testing, customers can run any test they want on demand at any time. This provides another layer of visibility when you have urgent requirements, such as a new CISA alert, new policy changes that you need to validate, or an emerging adversary threat that can't wait between the scheduled test runs. Again, the value to a customer is having an additional layer of visibility on top of their existing scheduled testing. And test anywhere. In Ready 2.0, we're introducing agentless testing from Flex to enable organizations to test anywhere instantly. So we're bringing all of the value you get from Flex and the flexibility of agentless testing into Ready. I'll talk a little bit more about how this works alongside our agent-based testing and why both are important. This is useful for organizations that want to do testing where it might not be feasible from a time or a logistics perspective to deploy an agent and then run a test. For example, if you have a branch office location or an air-gap device that can't accept an agent, or maybe some type of M&A or third-party supply chain risk that you want to validate. It's a lot of those use cases for it. Let's take a look at how these elements come together in Ready in a simple, easy-to-use solution. First, you start with the type of testing that you want to do, which is categorized by either an adversary emulation or security control baseline test. Adversary emulations are designed to simulate the specific TTPs, those tactics, techniques, procedures, that an attacker is known to use. Security control baseline tests are bundles of TTPs curated by our adversary research team to test the efficacy of a specific security control. You can run both of these, either through an agent-based testing or agentless. Agent-based testing enables you to run both scheduled testing and testing on demand, while agentless testing is designed to run on any device without a persistent agent installed. This gives security teams maximum operational flexibility to run tests that they want from anywhere. The benefits of this approach are marrying the best of both worlds, the speed and scalability you get from agent testing while providing the flexibility of agentless testing to ensure that you have visibility into every corner of your network. What's the value to you? First is that saving time and resources. It takes organizations far less time to plan, select, run, manage their testing than it would be to do on their own than with a fully managed service. Again, most BAS solutions or continuous control validation products require at least one full-time employee to manage and tune these products to get any value out of them. We're doing all of this for you. With continuous testing and with the benefit of testing on demand, you can find the security gaps faster. Now, how do we know this? Because according to a study published by the IDC, companies using our product found a 44% reduction in security breaches by implementing continuous testing. And of course, you using the content that we curate for you, which is all fully self-contained, you get better insights into security gaps, which has resulted in a 37% more effective, SOC analysts. That's a reduction in at least several FTEs that would have been required to do the equivalent type of work. This is because these teams are actively taking the learnings from the service and using it to refine their product capabilities through detection engineering. And because of our close work with MITRE and the in-house research expertise built over more than a decade as the pioneer of breach and attack simulation, you know that the content of your testing is realistic. And finally, with the powerful combination of agent and agentless testing, you can assess any supported device anywhere instantly. Now, at this point, what I'd like to do after we've gone through the problems that we're trying to solve, how do we do this with Ready and the combination of Ready and Flex and really what we're calling Ready 2.0. Charlie, I'd like to hand this back over to you and to take us through a demonstration, a quick walkthrough, a look at what Ready 2.0 can provide.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, and now I'm about to share my screen just to show you guys all the features that are packed into AttackIQ Ready. In the interest of time, and because we have so many different features to show, I'll be showing a video where we cover most, if not all of it. And by the end of it, I'll hand it back to Joe. So with no further ado, let's get to the AttackIQ Ready demo. Welcome to our demo for AttackIQ Ready. AttackIQ Ready stands out as a comprehensive breach and attack simulation as a service, designed to evaluate and enhance your security program. Unlike traditional approaches, AttackIQ Ready does the heavy lifting by executing tests on your behalf, enabling you to pinpoint where your security stands and how it can be improved. Today, we'll guide you through implementing this essential service in just a few straightforward steps, giving you insights into your organization's security posture. Our focus will be on the ease of configuration, the management of ongoing testing, and how our insights can support your security management efforts. Now, as I mentioned before, AttackIQ Ready takes care of testing for you, and let's show you how simple this is to set up. Let's go to the test points page in the configuration area, and this is all that's required to get testing up and running, is to deploy a test point. Now, as you can see here, there's already one active test point that was deployed, and it's as simple as clicking on Deploy a Test Point, following the whitelisting instructions, and then running the agent executable, or using a software management tool like SCCM. Once you do that, you're all set. Testing will be taken care of for you. Experts will select and schedule tests for you that'll run every week. Now, if you'd like to confirm the schedule with which tests will run, you can do that in the testing area. Now, as I can see here, my test will run on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And of course, I can customize this to my preference. Now, as I can see here, I have currently scheduled 4 tests, or rather, AttackIQ experts have done that for me. This has been the EDR baseline test, the endpoint antivirus baseline test, and the content filter baseline test. What I did yesterday was I wanted to add to my weekly schedule an additional test in response to a CISA alert, and that is the test you see here. Now, this is because although AttackIQ experts can select and schedule tests for me, I can always add more tests to my weekly schedule based on my testing demands and requirements. Now, if I want to do that, I would simply click on Add More Tests. And once I do that, I'm offered 3 categories: the security baseline tests, the adversary emulation tests, and the emerging threats tests. Now, these tests are what AttackIQ builds for you in response to emerging threats such as CISA alerts. So if you wanted to, for example, run the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service test for CISA alert AA23-347A, you would select it and add it to your weekly schedule. And that's it. Now, as part of your weekly testing, you will test the test initially scheduled for you and any other tests that you've added to your weekly schedule. Now, one thing to keep in mind is because these are emerging threats, you are able to run them on demand as you're able to run on demand any other test that you wish. And the way you would do that is you would go to the on-demand area, select your test, just like we did before. So if you wanted to run the same CISA alert test, you would select it, and then you would hit Run Now, and that's it.
Your test is now running immediately for you, and you can get a report within the day. Now, talking about reports, where do we see reports? The reports area is where you go to visualize all of the reports that Ready produces for you, both from on-demand reports and from the weekly reports that run week after week. So to view reports, you'd simply click on view. And then what you do is you get your report, and I'm going to show you one that I have produced before. And this one, let me go to the top here, is for Recida ransomware. And this adversary emulation test offers an executive summary. And in this case, what I'm being told is that I have an overall coverage score of 11% in the executive summary. And this is great to understand at a glance what my initial coverage is. Now, as I can see here, my coverage score is 11% as a result of 2 out of 18 scenarios being prevented or detected. So really not doing well as part of this, this test that we did, and a lot to improve on for sure. Now, as we keep scrolling down, we can see the results that make up for that score. So as you can see here, the test is broken into stages for this threat actor emulation, with the initial stage being initial access and execution, the following stage being privilege escalation and discovery, the next one being defense evasion, the next one being defense evasion and impact, and the last one being impact with the Recida ransomware deployment. As part of each stage, you can see whether the scenarios that make up for that stage were prevented or detected. And here you can see that just very few scenarios were prevented. And put a pin on detection because we're going to talk about that in a second. Now, as we keep scrolling down, you may have noticed that for all of the not prevented scenarios, there's a lot of work to do in the form of mitigations. And we have a wide array of mitigations and recommendations that you can review in this section to bring those scenarios to a healthy state and provide them with coverage for prevention or detection, which we're going to talk about in a second. So let's go back to the UI. This is what a report looks like. And what you need to do is now implement your mitigations and then make sure that you're providing coverage for these failed scenarios. And if you want to immediately validate that, remember that you can run tests on demand. So if you've implemented mitigations and you don't want to wait until your next weekly test, you can very easily just go run that test that same day, get the report, and confirm that the scenarios that were previously not prevented or detected are now prevented or detected. So on to detection. Let's go back to the UI. If you go to configuration, in the detection area, you can very easily integrate with your security controls to make sure that they are validating detections for these tactics, techniques, and procedures. And the way you do that is you click on Add Detection, you look for your security control, you provide the credentials for that security control. If, for example, you use Sentinel-1, you would click on Sentinel-1, you would provide the 2 parameters that are being asked by the UI, and you hit save, and that's it. As of the next report, then the detection will also be considered in the report. And what it'll do is it'll query Sentinel-1 and ask it, were you able to detect this tactic, technique, or procedure? And if it did, then detection will show as covered or successful. So that's detection. One more thing that I wanted to mention, or actually a couple more things, is the fact that if you are in a hurry and you don't want to deploy an agent or enroll a test point the way we saw before, Ready is also flexible, and in the grab and go area, you can use Flex to run Flex packages on any test point. If you don't have the time to wait for IT, you want to run a test on one specific, maybe air-gapped environment or device, then you would simply download the test in the form of a package that's an executable. You execute it on that device, and then you upload the results to this portal, and you would get your Flex report in the report area, in the Flex area here. It's as simple as that. You use your Flex credits, which you have here. You start out with 100 credits. I've already used 5. and you're good to go. You have the flexibility to run tests without having to deploy the agent if you're in a hurry, or if you don't want to test on a weekly basis on a specific device. Now, before we wrap up, I do want to remind you that we have a consulting request button here. If at any point you need professional advice on using Ready, feel free to send a consulting request and know that you're not alone. We can handhold any form of the experience, any area or any step of the experience with you. And that would be it. Thank you for watching the demo for AttackIQ Ready. Hopefully we can make testing easier for you by letting you simply worry about knowing what your test points are going to be and letting us take care of the testing for you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. That covers all, if not most, if not all, of the AttackIQ Ready key features and functionality. I hope you enjoyed the demo, this initial demo. I'm sure it's not going to be the last one. With that, I'll hand it back to you, Joe.
Thanks for that. And if you can please pass me back the presenter. While that's happening, one thing that I wanted to make sure, because we got a couple of questions in the chat about this, is kind of where this falls in line with the rest of the AttackIQ offerings. Let's go. Yep, screen 1, 2, 3. Show my screen. Is that AttackIQ Ready, AttackIQ Flex? These are additional offerings to what we already have with AttackIQ Enterprise. AttackIQ Enterprise, if you've seen us before many times, the traditional breach and attack simulation solution that we offer here at AttackIQ. That's certainly still here. It's certainly something that we still work with every day. The concept of using Ready, a combination of Ready and Flex, is to be able to give another entry point into this type of solution, this type of capability that you might want for your enterprise as well. Because Ready is a much more of a managed solution, it takes a lot of that work off of your shoulders of selecting, testing the content, and then being able to generate those reports, because all of that comes back to you automatically. So it's a much more curated experience than what's there. But make no mistake that the enterprise platform is still there and still fully operational. So that's really where that falls into this. So yes, this is newer in terms of AttackIQ. We're still using all the same backend, all the same technology, but this is just a different way to be able to use it. I'm going to go back over a couple of the questions here just to make sure we don't get too many of these. So the reports, yeah, those are the reports that Charlie was showing. In these cases, these might look a little bit different. If you might see some of our reports before, going through for the security control validation based ones, it's going to go through all of those scenarios, all of those TTPs. We're also taking a look at what security controls are there and integrating as we can. The amount of TTPs in AttackIQ, we're always working to see what works most effectively with the type of solution that we have. We have the ones that are going to be that we can emulate for different types of attacker groups, different types of malware, ransomware families, different types of tests that are actually going to work and are going to provide real actionable results. So it's not always about having every single one as it is about having every single one that matters. And that's a big part of what our adversary research team, our content team is doing, along with the research that we do with MITRE Ingenuity. Okay, yep. Generate a report with scenarios, the TTPs. It depends. The question is if the TTPs are organized in the order of the attack. In this case, they're using the term cyber kill chain. You can also use that for an attack lifecycle or the attack graph that we have in this case. If it's doing one of those attack graphs, like those adversary-based emulations, ransomware-based emulations, that is how we will, when we generate the report, show you the content is the entire sequence of the attack for all of the phases of the attack that are in scope for that attack graph. So working in order from, say, the initial the initial access, through the lateral movement, the execution, through the impact. All of those will then be shown in that order. Okay. Yeah, any kind of a chance to have a demo or take a look at the solution? Absolutely, yes. After this, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We will organize those meetings with you. We're happy to show you the stuff in more in depth so you can see it and be able to ask us even more questions about it. So yes, absolutely. Does AttackIQ Ready contain all of the assessments in AttackIQ Enterprise? Is it possible to really get more content from Enterprise into AttackIQ Ready? These are all questions that we can answer for you. As this stuff we can pull into AttackIQ Ready, that's what we're doing, is we're getting more and more of that content in there for you. So it is happening over time. It doesn't contain every single assessment that's in AttackIQ Enterprise right now. We wanted to start with something that you'd be able to really wrap your arms around first. Again, we're trying not to give you a too large of a set of information, but we're starting with what would be some really, really good pertinent and usable content right at the jump, and then be able to start to grow from there. To get into some more of the resources, and I'll take another glance back at the questions in just a moment. Stuff that you can go get to from here. One of the things that I've mentioned quite a few times is the content and our research team and the great work that they're doing. This is what we call our adversary research team, or ART. This is a team of security experts, logging experts, malware reverse engineers, incident responders, red teamers. These are all people that you want curating and then building out that content for you and putting it into AttackIQ Enterprise, AttackIQ Ready, AttackIQ Flex, all of the offerings that we have. These are the people that are generating all of that content for you, so you don't have to keep filing your way through all of these massive reports to be able to figure out, okay, this is how I emulate this type of attack or this type of malware. So we're doing that heavy lifting for you and putting it right into the platform. We do also provide, as we can, you can take a look there at attackiq.com/research. Take a look at that research page and see all of the writings that we put in there. Many times we're also putting in, for those attack graphs, we're also putting in our real dissection of what that attacker group campaign is looking like, or how we disassembled and then took a look at and be able to extract all of the TTPs for a given piece of malware or ransomware. Give you all of that content so you can take a look at that, in addition to being able to use it in platform. Other things that we provide to the community, like our AttackIQ Academy. We have dozens of courses in there, well over 50,000 students in countries all across the world. And what we're providing there is free, high quality instructor-led training that you can also use for your CPE credits. So for all of the certifications that you have, you can also use these for real learning, because we have stuff that's not only AttackIQ, but you can take a look for stuff there that's related to MITRE ATT&CK. There's different types of learning tracks that you could take there too. Management track, a more practitioner-based track, and there is even stuff there if you want to learn more about, say, AttackIQ Flex. There is a course there just for that. So I definitely encourage you to take a look at that. Again, academy.attackiq.com. It is completely free to sign up and use and get all of that really good training for free. Other resources that we provide back, in addition to taking a look at the resources site there and that research site that we have lots of ebooks that we've also published. We have a YouTube channel that goes back over this and the other webinars that we've been providing for as long as really as long as I can remember that we've been doing this. So there's lots of topics that we go through. This is just one of those attacks. We go into more technical technical concepts as well in some of these. And we'll continue to keep building this out as time goes. So definitely feel free to take advantage of those resources. This is all here for you, and we absolutely love to give back to the community in this and other ways. And with that, I'm going to take another quick look back at the questions here. I don't see anything else additional at this time. Yep. Yeah, nothing else I see there that's directly related to Ready here. Okay. Okay. Madison, do you have any additional questions there that I do not see?
I don't think so, Joe. I think you covered them all.
All right. Yeah, and if you have any additional questions, anything else that you want to know, understand, see, please reach out. We are super excited about this launch of Ready 2.0. It is a great add to our existing portfolio in what we are able to offer to all of you and give you another great entry point into being able to do that type of continuous security control validation, attacker, threat group emulation, malware emulation. It's really just all different types of things that you can do and really make it easy for you to do so. Oh, sorry, there was one more question. You guys were talking about agentless tests where we could download assessment and execute them instantly. Will that be possible on AttackIQ Enterprise? Reach out to us about that because that's part of the Flex offering. We're doing that right now. We're going to start including that as part of AttackIQ Ready. If you're curious about doing kind of the agentless, the Flex testing, if you already have AttackIQ Enterprise, if you're looking at AttackIQ Enterprise, definitely ask us those questions, and we'll be happy to reach out to you and discuss that with you. With that, I mean, Charlie, do you have anything else to add to this? Anything else I've missed?
No, Joe, I think you've covered everything. All the answers I would have provided the same. So all good.
All right. So again, thank you all so much for your attendance and your questions today. Always love all of your questions. Please feel free to reach out if you have any more. And again, if you want to see any more about AttackIQ, Ready, Flex, Enterprise, anything else that you want to be able to understand about AttackIQ, we are here for all of those questions and want to make sure that we give you the best possible solution for any of your use cases and problems. So thank you again for all of your attention and have an awesome day.
Thanks, everybody.